shy person, so it's strange to be sitting here. So I'll just focus this way. Okay, it's been an amazing week, and I've just loved everything that I've heard this week. So I just need some either confirmation or anything, actually, really.
Life confirms, doesn't it? The confirmations just keep coming and coming. We're happy to give you some words, but doesn't life just keep confirming?
It does, actually.
Yeah.
I'm just a bit impatient.
Yeah, well, stop it.
Not alone.
That impatience just slows things down. Because when you feel impatient, you're looking at what is that isn't pleasing to you.
Yes.
The most powerful deliberate creators are those who find confidence without evidence, because they know the laws of the universe. They know by their own emotions and their awareness of their emotions how they're doing, and so they don't need the manifestation to come all the way, because they're feeling satisfaction. They're happy with emotional evidence. They don't need to see it, hear it, smell it, taste it, touch it evidence. But if you need the see it, hear it, smell it, taste it, touch it evidence, then you hold yourself in a place of non-evidence for quite a while, and it slows all of that down. So the satisfaction factor is so much less, the time factor is so much more. And then you say you're impatient, and we say, if you're playing it that way, you need to develop patience, because it's not going to come anytime soon. We're not trying to encourage you to be patient. We want to encourage you to be confident in the laws, and confident in your focus, and confident in your receiving, and confident in what your emotions are telling you.
Actually, and this whole week has given me more confidence of how I've been, because I've come to Abraham.
Can you hear her?
I've come to Abraham just recently, and yet this week has shown me that, because I've been on a spiritual path for a long time, so it's just given me confidence to know that actually, even though I've only come to Abraham recently, that actually my focus and my being is heading in the right direction.
Yes. We would like to announce to everyone who is ever human, you can't get off a spiritual path. You can't get off of it, because you are spirit and you're on a path, and you can't get off. And your inner being won't let loose of you. If your inner being would let loose of you, you could be negative and it wouldn't bother you. But your inner being won't let loose of you. That part of you is always going to be a vibration that has relevancy in how you feel. And so Esther has said to us more than once, Abraham, just let me be here in my negative space for just a little while. And we say, all right, you be there in your negative space, and we'll be there in our positive space. And she'll say, I can still feel you, because the negative emotion is feeling that your inner being is someplace you aren't. And your inner being will never be so far away that you can't feel where your inner being is. When you're with your inner being, it feels good. When you're not, it doesn't feel good. But you'll never be able to feel your way away from your inner being, because your inner being is you. So once you figure that out, you just might as well think thoughts that feel good. We've enjoyed this interaction immensely.
I love it. I just love it. Absolutely love it. It's exciting.
So what is it that you want?
Well, I feel a bit embarrassed to say it, but I know I need to focus on things that I like, but I feel like I'm blocked from those things that I like.
From those things that you like. But what about other things? This is not impatience that you're seeing. This is choosing the perfect words. I want to tell you about blue glass. Oh, no. When you say, I feel like I'm blocked from those things, then you've got to take your attention from those things that are blocking you. And it's not like there are not a lot of other things that you could focus upon, and even a lot of other things that feel good. Or it's not like you couldn't quiet your mind. If you just stop asking for what you believe isn't coming, in time, that vibration will subside. So it's trying to make something happen in a way that doesn't make it happen, that is so frustrating to you. Could you give it a rest? Could you think about something else?
I have been known to do that. Yes.
And so, can you think of something else? There's deliberate and there's not deliberate. Can you be deliberate? There's mindful and there's not mindful. Can you be mindful? There's knowing your guidance system and not knowing your guidance system. Can you know your guidance system? It's time for you all to stop arguing for your limitations, because this isn't difficult. We know it's a terrible price to pay to think thoughts that feel good, but that is all there is to living happily ever after. That's all there is to it. Just focus on something that helps you to feel good while you're focusing upon it, or focus on nothing at all.
Now, I have done that in my life where things were really difficult and the only thing we could do was to focus on something that we loved, and then we would take ourselves out and do that thing that we loved, and then what happened was this thing that was difficult here in life morphed into something different, and then now we have this life that
so why is this different? You've already had that confirmation. You spoke it perfectly to us. Those were the best words about deliberate creation that have been spoken from this stage today. And so can't you apply that to anything? It's like once you've learned mathematics, can't you solve the equations? Do you have to make up a whole new mathematical language every time you try to add something up? Oh, I've used addition before. I don't want to use that anymore. I'm so tired of geometry and all of that stuff. Bring some rocks over and let's create something new.
The other thing that I have been feeling and thinking this cruise and these workshops is exactly that, which is I shouldn't be worried about it anymore and just continue to do what I'm doing, and it will eventually.
So again and again and again, we're talking about the same thing, the momentum of thought. It's what humans are almost always arguing about, is that I've got this habit of thought that I can't seem to break. And we say, well, the way you break it is by thinking about something else. And you say, I can't think about anything else. And we say, then that's the answer. And if you don't like that answer, then take a nap. But when you wake up, don't think about it again. Well, when I wake up, I'll have to think about it again. No, you really don't have to. No, I have to, because the momentum is still so strong. But if you would just use a little deciding to focus somewhere else, it would become slow enough in vibration. The vibration would become less and less and less powerful until eventually it wouldn't even come to mind. Really good.
Thank you.
Yeah. And we mean that. It is really good because it gives us the opportunity to say it over and over and over and over and over. Do you think that the law of attraction turns off sometimes and doesn't respond to you? Or do you think it's on all the time? And so when you're awake, are you on? Are you offering a vibration? And so when you think, are you guiding your vibration? And when you're guiding your vibration, are you establishing a point of attraction? And does the law of attraction respond accurately to your point of attraction? So do you get what you think about? Do you have control over what you think? Is it easier sometimes than others? Is it more difficult sometimes? When it's difficult, should you keep hammering away at it or change the subject? What are some ways you could change the subject? Take a nap, meditate, go do something fun, anything that changes the subject, yes? Is this difficult? It really isn't.
Thank you. I want to have fun right now. And I'm so in love with step 5. And you said something when Jerry died, that Esther was after this hard time, having so much fun again. And right in that moment, through something that was extremely hard for Esther. And in this moment, where she was so happy again, she could solve it in a second. And I was always fascinated by that
what Jerry making his transition did for Esther. She didn't realize it and may have not been able to even acknowledge it or admit it. But she was living happily ever after in a rather conditional way, because there were no conditions in her experience that weren't pleasing. And so she was living happily ever after without really needing to deliberately connect. It's what we said earlier today, that those people who are really easy to love don't help you find your balance. They might make you wish that everybody was that easy, but instead of noticing that others aren't that easy, Esther just gave her undivided attention to what was easy. And so once Jerry made his transition and she couldn't do that, that's when she really, really discovered the ecstasy of alignment and the power of what unconditional love really is. Unconditional love is finding connection anyway, even under really hard conditions. And we cannot think of any condition that would have been more difficult for Esther, and yet she accomplished it and wouldn't take it back. She never thought she would say those words, and she never thought she would allow us to say them either. But Esther would not like to go back to that time before she found that freedom of alignment. And it doesn't mean she's always there, but she certainly knows that she can be there, and she is most often there. So step 1 is ask. Step 2 is not yours. Step 2 is done by source answers. Step 3 is you got to get in the receptive mode. Step 4 is you get really good at the receptive mode. And step 5 is you're back in step 1, but you're not mad at yourself. You're able to look at what you don't want through the eyes of source. You're able to see unwanted things without it freaking you out. It doesn't take you out of alignment. Yeah.
And you said in this seminar, I think at the first day, I had toothache. And